So we're back. This most special episode I've done, probably most special episode I'll ever do. I got a badass. He's happens to be my neighbor, which is sweet, and I've actually known you for a very long time for
Yeah,
my life. You're the first person that taught me power chords. I don't know if you know that. We had a couple guitar lessons, but yeah, I've kept in touch with you and watched you throughout the years. And basically, this is Brian Zimmerman from the band Atrophy, fantastic thrash metal band. Uh, and you released an album last year, so you're on the upswing again. So I kind of asked you if you would want to do an interview, and you said for sure, and I really appreciate it. And
appreciate it as well.
yeah, I wanted to focus on this, and not just about like the music side of it, but like your inspiration, being an artist, bringing something into the world when there was nothing there before. Yeah, that's what we're gonna really kind of focus on. Wrote a shitload of questions, not to freak you out, but I did some research. I watched a lot of the interviews you've done through the years, and so I tried to do stuff that wasn't just the same road you've gone down.
Cliche.
So anyway, I guess we just start with the first one I came with is, do you have a particular early memory of discovering music as a kid? Something that an album or something that just kind of blew your mind, or
Man, yeah, this goes way back early childhood. My mother was a concert. She wasn't a concert pianist, but she had her own band and she played piano. So we always had a piano in the house. And my mother really liked music. And I remember listening to the steel drums, and she had an album, steel drums, and some other very eclectic stuff. And I just thought it was so audibly amazing. I just never heard anything like that. And when you grow up with music in your house, I think you just have a special appreciation for it when you just grow up with it. So that memory really sticks out. The steel drums is probably Jamaican music or something like
that's
that.
super cool. Was there anyone else in your family, or was it just your mom that was musically inclined?
My sister tried to play bass. She's not really the artistic type,
Mm-hmm.
but my little brother also, he's a really good. I guess he wrote a concerto when he was 15,
Okay.
but he could sit down and play music and write music, which I couldn't read music, so that was something that kind of blocked me. I did take some courses later on to try to help me with some theory, but I'm more, uh, an ear player.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so let's see here. So you grew up in the Southwest.
Yep.
Did you enjoy it?
I cried. We lived in California. I grew up in Glendale, California, and around my ninth birthday, we moved to Tucson, Arizona, and my parents bought a uh, house in the foothills, and across the street from us was just completely undeveloped. It was 50, 100 acres of just cactus and raw Sonoran desert.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that Christmas, I always wanted this thing called an STP car, and old schoolers will remember this. Had a ripcord in it with teeth on it. You go woo, and you set it down on concrete, hopefully, and it would just tear down the street. And I looked at it and I said, "Well, what am I going to do with it?" We had dirt roads
Mm-hmm.
and a gravel driveway. So I was like, "This sucks. I hate this place. I wanted to go back to California."
Okay.
But yeah, I grew accustomed to it. It's uh, it's hot, and I think the first opportunity I got to get the hell out of there, I left. But yeah, it was great. I formed the band there and everything. So
And that was going to lead into my next question. Is like, living in Tucson, those like regional influences affect y'all? Because I mean, doing my research, I don't know a ton about thrash. I've been learning more and more about it. I
sure,
know a lot of it come out of that Bay Area, that
yes,
Bay Area sound. And you saying you're from California, I wondered if like you took some of that, some of the influences they were have too. And you went out to Tucson, was you exposed to country Mexican music? That kind of affected you.
yeah. So my guitar player, Chris Likens, the original guitar player, he was half Hispanic and half Irish, and I met him, and we started. I started originally playing guitar in the band, and we just started jamming together. And we started going to shows, and I know you kind of like punk music, but we used to go see like punk shows, just all kinds of old school stuff. I saw a lot of bands in houses, um, but what really happened to me was I didn't know too much about thrash either. You know, everybody catches at a certain age, but it was a new thing coming out of the Bay Area, and a good friend of mine, Greg Walters, was stationed out in Oakland, which is right outside of San Francisco, and he said, "Hey, man, come out here. You got to see these bands." And it was Exodus and a couple other really top-notch bands. And when I saw them, I was like, it just, was that, and the crossover between punk metal and just heavy metal, and the ferocity of it just was like, that's it.
Yeah, that's what really I noticed about it. It does that ferocity. It's the perfect word for it. It's just
Yeah,
kicked up like an extra notch and grit and
it,
intensity.
it's got grit to it, and I
Yeah.
love the technicality of the guitar playing, and some of the singing is not my favorite, but I
Mhm.
really like the energy of that type of music.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I feel you on that. Um, so I was gonna ask you, was there an album of your youth? So you said the steel drums, but maybe more of like a rock album that you remember really like as a touchstone. Like,
Oh
oh,
yeah,
this is
for
pretty
sure.
awesome.
So when I was 15, I was just talking to you off camera about being, let me see, a adolescent in crisis. So my parents thought it'd be a good idea to send me back to Iowa to with my cousins. I have 7 cousins in that house, and the oldest of them, my cousin Mike, was getting into Kiss, Alive 2, and the Rolling Stones, Shattered, I think it is.
Hmm.
Some Girls, maybe, I think that might be the name of the album, but he got me into that really heavy, because that was really heavy, and I think that was like in 1979 is when that hit, and I was like, wow, this Kiss band, holy shit, they're, you know, with the flames and the outfits, and yeah, so that really started me on a little bit edgier music. Um, so yeah, that's what I started leaning
Oh
into.
yeah, I figured it may be a good Kiss record in there. Um, I wanted to ask you too though about because I know you're really into art as well. Because you helped do. I know all your album covers. You were the conceptual ideas behind those. You were pushing. Was there like movies or a particular artist that you really like impressed you at
Oh
that
yeah.
age too?
Um, so I was kind of into fantasy art, um, and Frank Frazetta and Boris Vallejo were doing. Boris Vallejo did some very incredible album covers at that time, um, and I was really into how did they make it look so real in an oil painting, and so I was always fascinated by those two artists in particular. But I wanted to learn the basis of artwork before I got into uh, that. So I started going to a local teacher in town who worked with my father and on the railroad, and so I started learning how to uh, not only use oil paintings and sketchings and learning how to draw anatomy, but the theory behind art and the classical art and stuff like that. So yeah, I just kind of grew up an artist, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say just like entrenched in it. Super cool. So let's see here. So I know you were a guitar player before you became a vocalist.
Yeah,
They kind of pushed you in that direction. Were you self-taught or did you have a teacher?
never had a teacher. Just ear. Um, I just heard it in my head what my mother would have been playing, or what I heard on the radio or something like that. I was like, huh, okay. So I would go try to transcribe it on the guitar. Uh, what really threw me off is some of the stuff that started getting down tuned, like Black Sabbath. I'd be like, damn, how does that sound so heavy? And Jimmy Page played an alternate tuning, the
Oh
Rain
yeah,
song. So yeah,
I love that track.
I just kind of learned that way uh, in the beginning before I really started. taken it seriously and learned
Did you know piano to be able to?
very, very
Because I've
limited.
always heard if you know piano, then other instruments can kind of come easier to you because you know keys and you know.
That is true. My guitar player, he's a wonderful guitar player. He also plays piano. So um, I I did take to the piano, but it didn't bring me the ferocity that I was looking for. It's very, it is beautiful. And I love piano well played, but I never really got into it.
All right, hell yeah. Um, so let me see here. So now I guess we'll start moving a little bit more into Atrophy. Uh, when did you decide? Well, before then though, I'm sure were you in some bands before Atrophy?
No,
Oh, so that was your first band.
yeah, I did. I tried out for a singing position, and this band, a couple of songs they had, it was one Led Zeppelin song and another song, and I went in and tried to sing it. I didn't know the lyrics at all. Like, so having that down first before you go try out would
Yeah,
probably be a good idea.
yeah.
And so I failed miserably at that. And so I just never, um, I didn't have the confidence to go out and like try out for bands. And I was surrounded by them. My best friend growing up was Ronnie DeWitt. He was in a lot of local bands, but I don't know, he always seemed to have the confidence to go out and do that kind of stuff where I did not.
Okay. So you get to Atrophy.
Yeah.
How did all of you guys kind of meet? Were just you all going to the same venue, same record stores, or
No, that guy Greg Walters that I went to go see the concert with,
Mhm.
he introduced me to Chris, and he said, "Dude, you got to meet this guy. I guess he saw him play at some point,
Mhm.
and to my knowledge, he was never in a band
That's
until."
wild that you guys were all your first band together.
And the first time I met him, we had spoke on the phone, and he came over, and I was sitting in my parents' bedroom. I hurt my back, so I was back at my parents' house, and this little skinny kid, really short hair, parted on the side, um, came in, and he had this wicked BC Rich bitch. It was Sunburst, and it was like the most beautiful guitar I'd ever seen. And he comes in and he watches me play, and he's like, "Hey, you're pretty good." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're pretty good too." But the one thing I noticed about him, his picking, that real fast drill picking,
Mm-hmm.
I was just going, "Wow, that's crazy." I never got to see it, especially up
I've always heard
close.
that real good guitarist it's in their right hand way more than it is in their left hand.
Yeah,
Controlling that tempo and everything.
absolutely. So that was my first meeting with him, and then we kind of ventured out into the music scene together. After that, I went to concerts and stuff like that, but I never had a chance to meet him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's super cool. And so then y'all just kind of
Oh
find your
yeah.
ways.
So I'll elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah.
So he was going to he was getting his degree. He was going to the University of Arizona at the time, and he was studying law. And he met this drummer who was studying to be a lawyer. And I was going to college at Pima College in Tucson, and uh, James Galata, which is our bass player, he uh, Chris knew him. We called him up. He came over, and so we just started jamming together. And it was really, really crappy at first.
Mm-hmm.
Our drummer was single bass drum, uh, just,
Oh wow.
and I think he had the attitude. It's just fun,
Mm-hmm.
and I think within a year we really knew that uh, we were serious. It was getting good,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, you see where the lacking points are. And at at that point, I had quit playing guitar because Chris wanted two solo players, and at the time, I did not play solos.
Mm-hmm.
I just sucked at them. So we got another guitar player, and I bounced over to singing. And the only reason I did it is because he said, "Yeah, dude, I don't want you out of the band. I want
Mm-hmm.
you to sing." And I'm like, I don't know anything about doing that.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
but
you
I
liked
always,
your creative output was essential.
yeah,
You just yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
So we kind of fell together, and we heard about this really good drummer who was playing in a storage shed. And it was like 120 degrees in there,
I'm sure.
no air conditioning, and he was just sitting in there, double bass, beating the shit out of his drums, and he would play for hours with his friend. And so we decided to get him in the band. That was the original drummer, Tim Kelly. Yeah, and it just kind of fell into place from there.
I had meant to ask you a question I forgot about earlier, but I wanted to just circle back real quick. Um, was there any particular like guitar brand or guitar models that you like to play when you were starting out, and that you still carry over to now? I mean, because I
That,
noticed there's a lot of Ibanez's in here. I imagine that that was one you liked, but
yeah, I just bought another one last night. But I, my first real guitar that I ever owned was my girlfriend had bought me this thing called the X model, and it's got the pointies, shapes on it. But after I got that guitar, something that just fits with your playing and your body and just everything, it just fits. And I played lots of high end guitars in my day, but I just love the Ibanez brand because they fit
yeah,
and they sound good, and
they sound great.
they're
Yeah.
reasonably priced for most of them are.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've always noticed that about them. You got the little thinner neck, so you can go faster, and
Yeah,
yeah, they're nice guitars. Yeah, I
yeah.
wanted to say something about it because I just it's like God, there's so many Ibanez's
You're
around, and
surrounded
yeah,
by
I'm
them.
surrounded by them. Okay, so you guys are getting good. You guys are about a year in. What venues around Tucson were you guys playing?
We didn't.
Oh,
That was a weird thing. We heard from another friend that they were looking for another band on this really bizarre show, and it was done. Um, it was a very odd venue, and it was with a very odd band. Chuck Shulak and the Chrome Legion was our first band that we ever played with, and we opened, or we were co-headlining or whatever with them. Just a local gig, and it was fun, but it was terrible.
mhm.
The sound was terrible. It just wasn't well thought out. And the second show we ever played is we drove up to Phoenix and we did a showcase for three different labels. And that's kind of scary because
Pressure's on.
we don't have a lot of stage time, but
Yeah, yeah.
playing together, I
Mhm.
mean, we locked like it. So I didn't really fear that we would fail on that. So in that little interim, we had made a little demo tape in one of the local studios in Tucson, and Chris and myself always used to go to the magazine racks and look at all the bands and what they were doing.
Mhm.
And Chris was a very smart guy, and instead of just making a demo tape and just trying to send it to the label,
Mhm.
because most labels said we are not soliciting and do not solicit us, we decided to take a different route and send it to the reviewers.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was
The,
doing research. That was a great idea. It's a
the
fantastic
guys
idea.
actually review music.
Yeah,
And
people are gonna buy it. You know what I mean? Like, yeah,
yeah, so we sent it to them, and some of the biggest magazines actually put our demo tape in it, and we're getting 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10
this
reviews.
is a chemical dependency, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And that immediately sparked the interest within the labels. So the
Mm-hmm.
second show we ever played was up in front of some labels, and apparently they had a little bidding war, and we decided to go with Roadrunner Road
Well, that's
Racer.
wild, man. I thought you guys would have played with some more venues than that.
No,
That's like
I mean
breakneck speed.
we really did. We went to California to record our album, and within months, I mean months, we were on a tour bus with a band called Sacred Reich out of Phoenix,
Mhm.
and we were touring across America. It was like that.
And that album you're talking about is Socialized Hate,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
I think that is one of the best album titles I've ever known, and I love your second album especially. But I love that. I just love that title, Socialized Hate. It's a great. It
That
literally sets up everything you're about to hear on that album. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
truly,
really, really good.
that was Chris's great idea. I thought the most natural one would have been Chemical Dependency,
Mm-hmm.
but we had done the demo, so I guess we went to Socialized Hate. But
Yeah.
the album cover came out just amazing, and that was the concept was done by a guy named Brian Anderson and Chris something. Anyways, they
Mm-hmm.
they came up with the kind of the gesture idea
Mm-hmm.
and with the stamping of the missiles.
Yeah,
And
that's what's so. I remember when we first met when I was a lot younger, and you were telling me this is like the internet was first starting out, and I was looking up that your albums. I remember looking at that one in particular, even though I love Violent by Nature album cover. I remember just like that is freaking wild. Missiles and the gesture. It's socialized hate. I was like, this is just the synthesis of all that is really really good.
yeah, and that's something we had talked about early on. I remember the first lyrics I came up with. I brought them into Chris, and Chris is like, "I hate these," and I'm like, "Well, what's wrong?" And he's like, "Well, you have some like satanic type of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
darker stuff." And so at that point, we had talked about, yeah, let's keep it socially relevant, um, and try to stay on topic. And I was like, okay. So I went back and rewrote, and
Yeah, I mean the lyrics are one of the strongest things about the band. I mean that's good that y'all had focused. I think you know what I mean. I think it held it long term. It aged like wine. They still relevant now. It's
they
what you were
are.
talking about in the '80s. Like you know what I mean. It's universal. And
It is. A lot of the problems that we were seeing uh, starting socially, man, violent by nature. When we were writing Asylum, I was, you turn on the news and see all the killings that were going on, and I'm like, wow,
yeah,
30 years later, we're still in this.
yeah.
And for some reason, it's so hard for us to change.
Hmm.
It's we're stubborn Americans.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, so I did want to ask a couple things about though socialized hate. Like, what memories did you have like recording the album? Like when it was actually now all the pressure. You're in there. You guys have got your moment. Did it come together quick? Did it come together in
Oh
fits and
yeah,
starts? Or
oh yeah. I mean, it came together so fast. When you're that young and you get put in that situation, uh, yeah, our band was really tight,
yeah,
as a unit. Um, and whatever we needed to do, we would go in and do it. And I think we all had that arrogance, confidence, um, about us, being young. Yeah, we're going to conquer the world.
mm-hmm.
So I think that was in play at the time. But the high points were we had we didn't have a vehicle to get out to Los Angeles, and I had just purchased a Camry the year before,
Uh-huh.
and it was paid off. And everybody's like, "Yeah, man, we need a truck if we're going to take all our stuff out there." And I was like, "Oh man, I don't want to do it," but it was a huge sacrifice. So I traded it on a new truck, and I got it, and we hooked up a U-Haul to it, and it was only like a 2.5 seater, 88 Toyota 4-wheel drive. And Chris was right next to me in his 79 Mustang, and he had three guys in the back. We had all the equipment, and the thing that I didn't realize is the old Toyota motors. That was a 22R,
Mm-hmm.
and even with the 5 speed, with the trailer on the back, you're only doing 55.
Yeah.
You can't break, you can't do 75.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a slow go. We get out there, and we were staying at this. It was like an Airbnb. We rented it for the month, and one of the most famous drummers to this day in this genre, his name's uh, Gene Hoglan. He plays for Dark Angel. Our landlord comes out and says, "Yeah, Gene's staying in the a room down here." And I shook his hand. I had no idea who he was at the time, and then I was like, "Holy shit, that's somebody."
Yeah.
But yeah, we went in and started working with some top-notch studios. And the thing that really blew me away is we were playing in some of the places like Billy Idol was recording. So it was really expensive,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think when money comes into play, you're like, yeah, we got to get in there and knock this out.
Yeah.
So I think they spent like 3 days on the drums, a couple days on the guitars, a couple days on the vocals, and I knew we came in under budget. And yeah, it was a pretty amazing
Studios are
experience.
like that, coming in under budget. It's like
Heck
probably
yeah.
probably rare with a rock album. So I would, you're satisfied with what you guys did for sure.
Like
Uh,
we really didn't know. We didn't have the final package. We didn't have the art completely done, and we didn't hear the mix. And
yeah,
back then they did, a 2-inch tape, and we were one of the first bands who ever did a tape, an album, and a CD because CDs were just coming out.
yeah,
And our producer would mix a rough mix for us, and we go out. He's like, "Take this out in the car and go listen to it." And we were out there, yeah, it sounded pretty good, but to see it done and hear it for real when it's all mastered and stuff,
yeah,
yeah, I was like, holy shit, this sounds really good.
yeah. Because to this day, it sounds good. CD or vinyl. Who mixed that again?
Bill Matoyer,
He did a fantastic job. He did your second album, right?
he
Too.
did.
Both of them sound because I have Violent by Nature on vinyl, and it literally sounds fantastic. Actually, I like it better than listen to like on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like it's more
Oh yeah,
immediate. You know, like I don't know. It just feels like you guys are actually like banging shit up in a room, like in the
yeah,
room I'm
yeah,
in. You know, he
yeah.
did a really good job recording y'all. I think.
He's a great producer. I tried to get him to do this album, this last one, but it didn't work out
Yeah.
because I agree with you. I think he's done everywhere from Slayer, Sacred Reich, DRI. He has like 137 albums under his belt, so
Oh yeah.
he's a really good producer.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. I did want to focus on one track from Socialized Hate that I was listening to it again. That I think I can't believe it's not in movies. Put it that way. I just think it's a freaking it's poignant to what's going on now, but it's also got a killer riff, and that's Killing Machines. I really like that track, man,
That's
and
pretty
it's
bizarre that you said that.
yeah,
Okay, so we Chris went and saw this movie, and he's like, "Dude, you guys gotta go. You guys have to go with me, man. We're gonna go see this movie." So it came from a movie,
oh yeah,
and I'm gonna forget the name of it. It's on the tip of my tongue. Full Metal Jacket.
no way,
Yes, sir.
Kubrick. Oh wow,
So you'll
wow,
see Born to Kill
uh
on
huh,
his helmet. So that's what I put in that chorus because uh, when I saw the movie, I was so moved by it
yeah,
um, that I wanted to write a song about these young kids that have to go out and serve.
mhm.
And I kind of grew up in a different time than like you did. The Cold War was going on, and you had all these people who were fresh, not fresh, but we were still hearing about Vietnam and the Korean War
Mhm.
and the psychological effects from people coming back. And yeah, it was pretty, it touched me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a classic. It's a great film.
Yeah,
So no wonder it
great
inspired a really
song.
good song. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that makes sense. All right, so now you have done an album. What was your first tours like? You're going out to support it now.
So we went out with a band, Sacred Reich, from Phoenix because our manager, Gloria Bujanowski, who's now married to the guy who's in Soulfly
Oh yeah, yeah. You were telling me that. Yeah.
and Sepultura.
Mm-hmm.
So this was before they met, and she was managing both bands. And what a money making tour package. You're gonna do
Yeah.
both bands, so um, she knew where to get a tour bus, and we called Nashville and got a tour bus, and uh, they came and picked us up first in Tucson, and then we went to Phoenix and got Sacred Reich, and then we went out and we had shitty problems right away.
Mm-hmm.
We broke down our, going out of Phoenix into Flagstaff. There's a lot of mountains, and
Mm-hmm.
our motor blew up, so we had to call and get another tour bus, and they got it out within like probably 16 hours,
Oh,
and picked us up, and we moved all our stuff over in that bus, and we took off and started touring, and it was,
was it all over the U.S. and places you
yes,
hadn't seen before?
I hadn't seen any of it.
Oh wow.
So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it went really, really well. It was amazing how well it went. And we had a T-shirt deal at the time, so we had some funding to get the tour bus. There's not T-shirt companies around that they give you like 10 grand, but they get to keep all the T-shirt money until they sell so many T-shirts. But so they would follow us around to each venue and set up, and they also did Sacred Right too. So it was quite a little production,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Any particular incident you remember, or a great concert in a place you'd never been that something stands out along that, or is just all of it was just a blur and it was awesome in a great way?
A
Or,
lot of it was a blur. I remember they said we were going to go to Lubbock, Texas, and I told you I'd run away when I was a child,
yeah.
and I had been through Lubbock, Texas, and I'm like, that place sucks. Why are we going there?
Uh-huh.
Turned out to be one of the best concerts.
Yeah, yeah. It's a
Um,
Texas Tech. So yeah.
we went we went all over the U.S. We went up into Canada too. So
Oh wow.
it was
How many
absolute.
months were you on?
I think we were out for like 5 6 weeks.
Oh, just 5 or 6 weeks. Hell
Yeah,
yeah. Hey man, you guys were hitting venue after venue then. That's
yeah. We
wow.
tried to go every day. I think we had a day off, a couple days off. Remember, we went to Florida and played with a couple good bands, and then we had to drive all the way or it was reversed. I think we were in Canada first. We had to drive all the way to Florida, and that was in November, I believe.
Oh
So
man.
it was, Canada was in the wintertime. And then I remember as soon as we hit the panhandle, everybody was just taking off their clothes. And it was just like, oh man, sunshine. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it is a blur. I'll tell you one exciting thing that happened. Uh, we were playing in Texas, and it was called Joe's Garage, and the guys from Pantera came to see us.
Shit.
And
Awesome.
these, and I didn't know them from anybody. They hadn't even
Hmm.
had an album out that I knew of. And he's like, "Fuck yeah, dude! You guys kick ass!" Blah blah. We got an album coming out, and it's on Epic Records or whatever it was, big label.
Yeah.
And I remember they walked away from us, and I'm like, "Sure, kid, yeah, yeah," just kind of laughing.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Keep an eye on us for Pantera." Fucking a, dude. And they came out, man, and
Yeah.
I was just like, "Wow!" Like,
Pantera is great.
boy, they made me eat my own words. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. That's
Yeah, so
super
that's
cool.
it's always exciting when you meet other people on the road, and you run into different people along the way.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. It's a life changing. So now we're moving into Violent by Nature, your second album. Um, so when I first met you, this was the one that was easier to find for me. Like I remember finding Socialized Hate and reading like reviews on it. Um, but it was harder to find songs. I remember for that and Chemical Dependence. But like everywhere I went, I could get the whole album of
Yep.
Violent by Nature. And yeah, I remember being like, whoa, like this is. It's like the first time I met you, we had a guitar lesson. I went back and I was like looking on the internet if you told me your band name. I remember being like, holy shit, this is so freaking good. Like I had no idea. I mean, my dad had said, oh, he's in a band. You can learn from him and stuff. I was like, well, cool, it's great. But I didn't realize how freaking great that album was. And I'm sure like throughout the years, that's considered like it's a beloved album in the genre. Like it's really grown, has legs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't
Yeah.
it, something that's been easily forgotten. And so I was just curious, like when did y'all start formulating the songs for that? And
Immediately, like upon coming back from that tour, uh, I remember in particular my drummer and James. We had got a new jam pad up in the foothills, and because that place was hot and it was getting broken into, uh, they were up there a lot. And I remember I went up there, and I think one of the first songs I heard was "Violent by Nature," and I was like, "Damn, that's got a good swing to it,"
it really does, yeah.
And so, yeah, that album happened really quick. And my other guitar player I didn't talk about, Rick Scourin, he was in the band uh, when Tim Kelly joined, and he always sat in the background. Very quiet guy, never added too much, uh, creatively. Always put in killer leads and stuff like that. But he came in with Puppies and Friends, and I was just like,
Yeah,
"Damn, dude!"
it's a great album opener. It's a
I
great
I
album
was like, "Where have you been? Like, can you write three more of those?"
opener.
And and
Yeah,
that's all we got out of him, and during our career as far as him writing. But I
it's a
remember
killer
hearing
track. I mean, for it to be a one and done, that's a great one and done. You know,
it really was, and I was like, "That's really tasty, dude. That's really good." But then we just started. Um, Chris would typically write. Uh, was very good about this. Was when he write the riff, he just kind of heard lyrics in his head, and I
hmm
remember him showing me the lyrics to "Violent by Nature," and I'm just like, just fit, just perfect. A couple of the songs I've had to move some stuff around, but that one was really good. And Puppies was really hard to sing because it's so fast.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot going on, but yeah, I mean, we literally had that done in probably another 6 or 7 months after coming back off tour.
You guys are just flying through this
We,
there.
I mean, we really were. We just, like I said, when you get a unit and you guys musically click,
Uh-huh.
it's that's kind of how it happens. It just I feed off you, you feed off me, and you take everybody to another level. This
Yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Oh yeah, man. So the themes of the album, the militarism and environmental destruction, they're still relevant to this very day. That's
Yes.
why I really think that that album. I like them all, but I think that that one is, for should I say, from your past records, is why it is held good for so long. Is people are like, "Yep, we're still experiencing that." You can put on any of those tracks, like, "Yep, that's happening right now in 2025." Like, totally speaking to what's happening now. So, um, what inspired you in 1989 to focus on those issues? Like,
So I think grow Chris grew up in the punk scene where it had more social relevance, and I think that talk that me and Chris had, um, in college, you really start to see the world for what it is instead of make believe. I'm going to grow up and be a prince and have a princess, and we're going to have a big castle.
mm-hmm.
I start seeing what the world really is and how it, controlled and how it works and what humans are doing, and it's disgusting. And even back then, for instance, I remember he came in and he said, "Dude, we're not eating at Burger King anymore." And I'm like, "Why is that?" He says, "Well, they're raising all their beef down and they're cutting down the rainforest in Brazil."
Oh,
And
yeah.
I said, "Put me down. I won't eat there again." Uh, but things like that, we just really had we really cared,
Yeah, no, I
We,
mean it's that's why I think it's so good, especially a lot of those lyrics is like it's the exact stuff that we're still experiencing. You know what I mean? Like you put a name on it then, and it's still the same name now.
I think when you connect to somebody on a human level, and one of the things that we were really against was a lot of the bands were falling into that death metal um, lyrics over
Yeah,
the
that's what I was gonna
thresh.
bring up. It's like you guys were the antithesis of that. Like, no, let's focus on some things outside of like these like devils and all that sort of stuff. It's like,
Yeah, so
you know,
so we didn't want that element into the band. It's fun to. We have a song called "Product of the Past," which is about a serial killer.
hmm
That also has relevance socially, but um, I don't know. And then a lot of bands started jumping on the social relevance
hmm
train, and yeah, it was just something we
you guys had already been there. You know
really
what I mean?
cared
Like,
about.
already, yeah, already been
Really cared
focused on
about.
it.
Yeah.
I like that, man. It's really really good. Um, so I guess let's see here. Is the I was gonna ask you because I wanted to ask for each album. Is there any particular track that still you think still lingers with like the relevancy that's just extra powerful? That you
Just
know,
like I said, the uh, yeah, I mean, especially when we play them, like violent by nature, as I was stating when I was writing help writing Asylum. Uh, you know, I wrote this song called Seeds of Sorrow,
mhm,
and you know, listening to that track again and seeing what's going on today, because back then the one thing we didn't have was assault rifles introduced into the public
oh,
sector, and I'm not saying that anything about guns either way, but they are efficient killing machines,
mhm,
and that's what they're made for. And in the hands of some jackass shooting up a school,
yeah,
and that's the things that I just was going through was, you know, the Sandy Hook thing. What are you killing children like
yeah,
kindergartners? And then the Texas shooting. Um, that popped up on the screen as I was writing Seeds of Sorrow. 21 are dead and they're still counting. And you have officers outside that are so afraid to go in. They didn't even go into school for like an hour.
yeah,
And, you know, that's a terrible weapon to face for anybody on the street. You
mhm,
know, it'd go right through your bulletproof vest.
yeah,
But yeah, just, you know, it's the American chaos we ensue, man.
yeah, yeah. I actually saw something last night that UN reported that 45% of all the guns on Earth are in America.
It's a fact.
It's like it blew my mind. I had to like reread that headline twice. Like, does that really make sense? But yeah, that's where we're at.
We like our guns.
We do. Um, so, Violent by Nature comes out. You guys, is this when you did your first tour in Europe? You guys got to leave to go support that, or
We didn't get to do it on the first album, so Violent by Nature we got to do the full. We did festivals, and again we got to go over there with Sacred Reich on that tour. We came back and did an American tour with them, and then we went out with a band called Coroner from uh, Switzerland and a band from Seattle called Forced Entry. Again, we got the tour bus and jumped on and we toured across America and Canada, and that was freaking amazing.
yeah.
Really, really good musicians.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah. So when that tour's over, what I've researched, that's when the band kind of everyone kind of went their own way for a little bit. Um,
Yeah. So
yeah.
one of the key points here is, as I said, Chris was going to be a doctor, and one of the tests he had to take was called the MCAT test, and it's a very difficult test. And every 4 years they change that test. He was studying for it, and he had one last chance to take it. So we were over in France, and I remember we dropped him off underneath the Eiffel Tower, and he left, and he went and took the test for Americans, crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And we did the show without him that night. Picked him up the next day, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I did pretty well." When he left the band, we tried to find another guitar player, and Chris was very important in the writing process.
Yeah.
He could take some of James's songs and make them a little more right-handed, you know,
Mm-hmm.
very little more electric, and and I felt like I lost my right arm when I was writing
Mm-hmm.
because he was such a big help. So we attempted to do some demo stuff, and I remember we got a call from our manager, and they said, "Hey, the label wants you guys in the studio this week." We were not ready.
Yeah.
Um, I want to say I'm going to say this, and I don't hope I offend anybody, but I think when we came back from Violent by Nature tours, I think some people in the band just started feeling like, yeah, we're there. We don't have to try as hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I was at the position of like, we need to double down. But a couple other things happened at that time in '90 was, you know, my daughter, she was born. and I got married, and there was a key point there of what do I want to be a father and be home and help raise my daughter, or do I want to continue on trying to be a rock star type dude?
Yeah.
And seeing how the songs weren't really as good, and I knew Violent by Nature was going to be a motherfucker to follow up with.
Yeah.
It was just, it was a good album, and I wanted to level up again. And when you hear what we've done in the studio, and you're like, nah,
Hmm.
it just doesn't have the bite to it.
Yeah.
It's a bummer. And so I made the decision with Chris gone. I thought it'd be a good idea to be a dad
Yeah.
and put my energy into raising my daughter.
And a lot of them will not know her, but I've gotten the chance to know her. She's a fantastic person.
Oh,
I think you did the right thing, and
thanks, man.
yeah, you really did. And that's about the late '90s. Then when I meet you, probably like '99 or so, first guitar lesson and stuff like that. So yeah, I remember that. Her being young, and you guys, you two versus the world. It was super cool.
Yeah,
And I wanted to say like that was especially once I got to know you a little bit, and you were telling me like what the album had focused on and stuff, and I was like, you had your hair along, and I was just like, this guy, like this super cool guy, and you're your dad and stuff. Like you're not like any other dad I had known. You know what I mean? I was like, you care
probably not.
about things. You know what I mean? Like I was like, this is freaking cool. Like you can be this way and engage the world in such a way like that. You don't have to
Sure.
be like you know drunk and partying all out because that's what I thought all that's what I thought rock star stuff was. Like
Yeah,
that's you know what I mean?
and I want to touch on that point a little bit, and I want to rag on one band in particular, Motley Crue. Um, when I saw the bands who were wearing makeup in the LA scene, and you probably know that thrash guys really dislike glam metal.
Yeah.
I liked Motley Crue when they first came out. The first album was pretty good, um, and so are their other albums. I mean, they're look at where they are and who am I.
Yeah.
But one thing I didn't like was they just were putting out this image that we're just drunk fuck offs, and you know and then Vince killed his best friend drunk driving,
Hmm.
um, with his Ferrari, and I was like, man, they're just giving rock and roll a terrible, terrible name. And I was like, I hope people don't think everybody's like this. We're all drug users and we abuse women, and
Yeah.
because I didn't ever want to have that image.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's all on that
Yeah,
subject.
no, no. I mean, you really. I mean, for me, it was like, dang, because I thought that was it. I thought like, oh, that's it's part of what you accept when you move into that
Yeah,
realm,
yeah,
and you were like the antithesis of that. I mean, I remember I forget exactly what it was, but where we grew up, all the trees and stuff. I remember you were saying like, oh yeah, they're chopping this. I remember just you're like concerned about it. I was like, it just kind of blew my mind. I was like, I thought you guys wouldn't give a shit about any of that type of stuff.
oh
But you're
no,
like, no, no, man, like this stuff's important. And I was like, all right, yes, it is. Yes, it is important. So I want to tell you, man, that left a real big impression on me.
oh good.
It really did, and I really appreciate that. Um, so, all right, got a 30, 40 year kind of hiatus here.
Yeah,
And I remember, when I moved into my house down here, I ran back into you, and I was like, "Holy crap! Brian's down here." I knew him growing up, and I remember I was walking my dogs out past your house, and I heard the music just. It was with my wife. It's loud, and she's like, "Well, is he rocking up there?" I was like, "He's either rocking or writing new music. He's doing something." I remember we got to talking out in the yard, and you're like, "Yeah, I don't know all the details. I forgot, but you're like, I'm putting a new band together with new members, and we're moving forward. I'm making an album, dude." I was like,
yeah,
"Holy shit!"
yeah.
So can you, I guess, just kind of highlighted the front. What were the steps you took to get out of that rut, to get back into like a studio type thing?
So in 2017, we rejoined with the drummer, the bass player, and myself, and we immediately got really wonderful gigs, and we had been together for 2 or 3 years at that point, and I knew that was going to end. You don't just have two albums and you just keep touring forever.
Mm-hmm.
um, I I wanted to get a decent amount of money for our performances, And I wanted, like I said, having Violent by Nature and trying to get to that level or make it better
Mm-hmm.
is difficult. So uh, we had written some songs, and we released one song in 2019. It was pretty good, and we tried to write some other songs, and they just didn't fit to that or sit at that level. And the guitar playing was not the same. Let's put it that way. And I could tell the notable differences. And I was gung ho, man. I was just like, yeah, man, I can't wait to sink my teeth into this new one. And we had some problems internally inside the band. And I just said, I don't think I can do it with these guys. And I met Mark Coughlin in 2020 at the end during COVID. We went to Europe in March of 21, I think.
Yeah.
And
Remember you telling me like I'm going to Europe? I was like, oh, oh
yeah,
yeah, like that's
so we
great.
got we got a European tour with the band from Israel, and uh, I remember sitting down in Tucson with the guys and saying, "We don't know what this is. We don't know how it's going to wind up, but we're flying into the belly of the beast. Does everybody still want to do this?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we went over there and we did 8 shows out of 23, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and like our president at the time said that he was going to shut the borders down. And so when that happened and we had to get back, come back to the United States, I was like, oh man, uh, that's kind of one of the deciding factors of like, yeah, if we're not going to be able to tour and we're not going to be able to write and come up with that kind of music, I think it'd be a best to get a fresh start. So I met Mark Coughlin and I started writing with him. And within about 9 months, we had the album written. Um, and I got a new record deal, and we moved forward and just
Did you have to cut like some demos for that record deal, or were they on your for
no, I
Violent by
just
Nature alone? They're like, yeah, we'll give you this. We
I
want to
think
hear it.
I think that was partly it. Of course, they want to hear new music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had reached out to a friend of mine. He's in a band called Heathen, which is a thrash metal band named Craig and Lund, and he'd always been interested if we came back, he was going to help us pursue an album deal, make an album. And I remember sending one song to him, and he's like, "Holy shit, dude, this is great!" And he's like, "Tell you what, I'll put a lead on it, and I'll send it to a record label." But okay, cool. And he did, and they said, "Yeah, we'll sign you."
Yeah, I remember listening to some of the demos in here, and I was like, "This is fantastic. Is this done?" And I remember you just being like, "No, no, it's got to have this, got to have this." In fact, I even may take this off, and I was like, "I already thought it was done." You know, I was like, "Damn!" So you're saying like you're already conceptualizing even more layers on top of this? You're like, "Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah," and I was like, "Okay." So yeah, so I mean, like that was what I was kind of leading up to is the album comes out, and from what I'd heard, I knew it was going to be met with praise. I knew it was, but it was, you throwing it out there, you never know how people are going to react. But you've seen it. People have been. I mean, it made a lot of top 10 of the end of the year lists. People really really responded very positive. I mean, I think you did justice by Violent by Nature by releasing Asylum next. It was,
I
you know,
thank you for that.
yeah,
I just was talking to a good friend of mine. There's a lot of older bands who are trying to come back and releasing new albums, and man, it's like I said, I kind of knew the bar was set up here, and I knew I had to get to that bar no matter what, or other I wasn't going to do it.
yeah.
And I hear other bands, and they don't sound like they did back then.
Mm-hmm.
They've kind of lost the edge or whatever. Um, but yeah, thank you. I
That's
appreciate
kind
that.
of why I liked it because it was like you hadn't lost the edge, but there was an evolution a little bit. There was a movement, you
Yeah,
know.
move it forward.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's it. It should be a natural evolution,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able, thank God, because I work with really good musicians, to push that way to get a little bit more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. So let me see here. So this is and I'm not trying to get super political with this, but I know listening to the lyrics and stuff is that you were trying to address a lot of like your frustrations with the societal issues that
Sure,
we're dealing with.
absolutely.
Um, did it mean more to you that after all these years you could come back and still touch on the vein of that stuff, that people are like, yeah, he's still speaking the truth, you know what I mean, like that it wasn't like contrived, people are like, it was that natural evolution of things, and you were speaking about like, gun issues, or January 6th stuff, how like what's going on, without it
Yeah,
being too preachy, you understand what I mean, like it's like
yeah. I
everyone
don't.
could understand.
I try not to when I write. I try not to be on the right or the left.
Mm-hmm.
I try to view it as an observer, and not, and I just wanted how it affected me. I was sitting writing the album, and January 6th happened, and to watch that happen in America, it just was like, wow,
Yeah.
just wow, and what if they were able to get in there and kill people,
Yeah.
hang Mike Pence, do whatever. I was just going, what the hell? And I will say this: I'm a red-blooded American. I love America, and I'm thankful I was born here. And I thank God every time I get to come back here.
Yeah.
I love America, and I don't want to see it torn in two,
Yeah.
and that hurts me. I don't think we should be at each other's throats uh, over such, silly issues, and people that beating that war drum,
Mm-hmm.
and the drum of hate. And I'm writing a song on this album. We're writing another one, by the way.
That's what I was. That's the next question is going into. If you guys are
But
working on anything new, but it
yeah,
sounds like you are.
I wanted to touch on some of that stuff, the hatred that people have for their fellow Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we hate each other, because I think what's happening is you get your circle of friends and you don't talk anymore, not openly have a discussion of, well, I think this way, and I think this way. I think people, and the one thing we didn't have back then was the internet,
Mm-hmm.
that and the 24-hour news cycle.
Yeah.
If you missed it at 5 o'clock, the local news, or the what was it? I think it was on at 5:30 and 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
You missed it.
You
You
missed it,
weren't
and
getting any more news.
yeah.
But now it's like click, and people sit and watch this shit all day, and they get freaking angry and pissed off, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not healthy.
No,
And
no,
I don't think uh, I'm writing another song about AI. Uh, you
that's
know,
huge now. Yeah, yeah.
what do you think is going to happen when we don't have jobs and we all sit home and have to worry about where we're going to get money and how we're going to feed our families, and we're sitting there watching that crap? I mean, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
And I'm just putting it out there because I do think it's going to happen. This AI stuff, do we want a society with this? How's it going to help us except take
Yeah.
from us?
It almost allows us to become like removed from the situation. We'll hand it off to you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
well, you're supposed to be involved, and now you can just kind of step aside. And yeah,
yeah.
I agree. It's a weird thing. I don't know how it's going to resolve itself.
Its logic is cold, and that's
Mm-hmm.
one of the lines in the song is, its logic so cold, like it doesn't have feelings or emotions, or it's not going to, unless they write it that way. But you see these young kids, man, and they're sitting there talking to their phone, GPS,
The Chat GPT.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, what do you think about this, Mark? They give it a name, and they're in some kind of relationship. What? Dude, go out and meet somebody.
Yeah.
Go have dinner.
I saw something with Keith Richards said that some lady said, these guitarists that are coming up now, they're learning on YouTube, and he's like, they're going to be some of the best guitarists, and he made a great point. He's like, no, I don't think so. Not necessarily that they won't be technically proficient. He's like, playing with other people is key. Making mistakes, learning how to groove with somebody is
Sure.
very important. You can't just learn it all in a room by yourself,
You can't.
you know. And
Yeah.
he's like, that's what's kind of wrong with this, with everything. He kind of expounded it upon everything, and I was like, holy shit! Like Keith Richards is putting a name on it, you know, like that. That is. He's like, we're not talking to one another, we're not jamming with one another, like,
The
you
human
know.
connection and making
Mm,
making music is so it's giving birth to something, and it's so exciting to be part of it. And that's another thing: is music going to be around for musicians? Do we really want to listen to uh, Grok make a song for us?
yeah,
Like, that sucks. It's just, the whole thing sucks. And I don't want to sound old,
yeah,
but I don't see where this is. And I want to make one point about America in general, is it is a great nation, but I don't think people are really happy here. Um, and when they poll people, and when I get to travel to other countries, yeah, when you go to South America, they have groups of friends. They
yeah,
invite you in their house. You
mm,
may sit on a floor, but by God, you'll have dinner.
yeah.
Do you
I,
need a place to stay, brother?
mm,
That kind of stuff. And we're so like, standoffish. But anyways, sorry.
that's actually one of my questions I'm going to talk to you now about, like, because I know you're about to start doing more tour, about to kick up another tour,
Yeah.
and it seems like I was, kind of reading what you have coming up. It seems like Latin America and South America are just unbelievably enthusiastic about you guys. What is it specifically about them you think that they connect so much with
So,
Atrophy?
so one of the things I think is it's really hard to get an American tour going now. A lot of people just stay at home.
Yeah,
The
true.
the Black Sabbath concert just aired all over the world. You can sit at home and eat popcorn and watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they're not craving that live experience, I guess. A lot of people aren't. But in the other countries, this is life. It's a celebration. That's what music is.
Yeah.
And we've forgotten that here.
Yeah.
It's that night out. Man, some of the best concerts I've ever been to, I remember the whole night, like what happened, who I met, uh, the feeling in the air. And I think we're missing that.
Yeah, yeah, that definitely makes sense why they would be. Because I was fortunate enough to go to Costa Rica this year, and that warmness you were talking about people like, hey, greeting, like literally greeting you and waving to you on the street, like it doesn't. I mean, we're in the center of the country. You would think to be a little more kinder, kind of, but it's like there's a coldness. I understand what you're saying, like a standoffish that I didn't even experience
Yeah,
that
they're
there.
like, they don't know if you're friend or foe. And it's like, I don't know. And this division that's gone on for a long time and poisoning our country
Yeah,
with hate and stuff, it's just, you can almost feel it in the air.
yeah.
Uh, and yeah, so.
Well, hell yeah, man. So I was kind of last kind of two questions here, kind of. So you kind of alluded to it, but you do have new music on the horizon. What can people expect? I mean, kind of.
The whole album's written.
Oh shit.
I have to put lyrics on it yet,
Yeah.
but I am currently doing that. And I have lyrics on different parts of different pieces of the songs. I don't have a lot completely done yet, but
Mhm.
I hope to in the next 2 months to just sit down and cram and before we go down to Central America
Nice,
and
nice.
try
So
to
so
get
there's a new
that wrapped
album on
up.
the horizon. That's freaking
Absolutely.
great, man. Um, well, I guess my last question then is really because you kind of talked a lot about like where humanity's going, but I mean, are you hopeful, like in general?
Um, I I will say this: I've probably a little bit more frightened um, about America's future than I ever have been. And like I said, we'll say, well, growing up back in the '80s or early '90s, um, there was always that threat of Cold War. It was real, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it was palpable, and I didn't see this coming.
Yeah.
And I I can't imagine America ripping itself in two.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's even more or as scary. They're
Yeah.
both, I mean, you know, we haven't seen war in this country
Yeah.
in 200 years,
Mhm.
you know, and war is ugly, man.
Yeah.
And that's something we do not want. And I would rather reach out to my brother and help them up and say, hey, man, let's get through this together and we'll fix this instead of just, you know,
Yeah. Turn it apart. Go your way. I go my way.
and that
Yeah.
that's the other part of that song that, you know, if we tear it all down and you stand your ground and I stand mine, how do we rebuild it to where we don't have corrupt, you know, money, this, you know, Israel supporting candidates?
Mhm.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, we have a lot of fixing and repairing to do, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel hopeful that we'll get through it. You know, we've been through
Oh
some
yeah.
tough times.
Yeah. We're resilient.
You know, watching 9/11 happen, you're like, oh shit.
Mhm.
But we got through it.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yep.
agree, brother. Well,
All right.
thanks, man. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely, Corey.
That's Brian Zimmerman from Atrophy. Get all the albums, and he'll have a new one out. Sounds pretty relatively soon. You seem to work fast, so. Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
man. Thanks, brother.
You bet.